On getting this call. I have with me Mr. Rahul Krishna, who is an alum of IIM Kozhikode, and another panelist with us is Ms. Roopmalini Sahu, who is a current student at XIM-B. Over to you, Rahul.
Hi, Roopmalini. Welcome all participants. We will be looking at the second stage processes for XIM Bhubaneswar today. So we'll look at the second stage process. Over here for the XIM Institute, till last year what they have done is they have had one group discussion including a summary writing task for their candidates. They also have one personal interview per candidate. Now for this year they have expressly stated for each of these programs, they have clearly said that they will be conducting a writing assessment task plus a group discussion plus a personal interview. Now at this point of time, it is not absolutely clear if they will be conducting a separate essay writing task or if the summary writing at the end of the group discussion is itself being referred to as their writing assessment task. This is as far as XIM-B process in general is concerned. Now as far as last year experiences of students are concerned, the group discussion, this was the first task which students underwent last year, which candidates, XIM-B candidates underwent last year. Over here, the groups typically had 7 to 9 students, and there were a few cases where some of the people who had been shortlisted for the groups did not turn up for their session. The groups were given 2 minutes time to think on the topic, and the discussions were generally short in nature. Typically, when some of the candidates in a group were absent, then the discussions were shorter. The allotted time for the discussion was shorter. Also, at the end of the discussion, candidates had to write a summary, and they were given between 3 to 5 minutes time to write the summary of the discussion. Summary of the discussion, essentially, just to repeat repeat this point about our participants. In a summary writing task, when you are given a summary writing task at the end of the group discussion, you should only mention the major points, the significant points which were discussed, which were presented, which came up during the discussion. You are not at all required to express your personal opinions, your own views on the topic during your summary writing task. You are only required to present the major points which were discussed during the group discussion. Further, when you write down your summary, do make it a point to ensure that you write grammatically correct sentences, complete sentences. Many people think that they might just present points in bullet form. But then the issue over there is bullet points that appears somewhat haphazard, somewhat random. Plus, when you express points in bullets, you are not able to express further. For example, if there was a particular point on which several counterpoints came up or different examples were presented, then presenting your summary in a bullet point form will not give you the freedom to express that these other examples also came up in relation to the same point. So, write your summary in complete sentences. Do not go for bullet point options, and do ensure that you do not do not write grammatically incorrect sentences, and do not make too many spelling mistakes. Some of the topics which had appeared last year, these were some of the topics. A ship in a harbor is safe, but that is not what ships are built for. Papa, don't preach. The picture in the rear view mirror is clearer than the one in the windshield. If I was the Prime Minister, and so on. As we were seeing on the previous slide, the topics for the discussion were philosophical in nature mostly. And these were some of the topics which had appeared last year. Over here, if you look at these topics, it would become clear that First of all, you have to present, and when you start discussing these topics in a group discussion, first of all, you will be expected to come up with an interpretation of the topic. For example, if I take up the topic like a ship in a harbor is safe, but that is not what ships are built for. Here, we are talking about the challenges of life, essentially. And ultimately, everyone, if when the times are good, then anyone can perform well, anyone can be good, successful. But ultimately in life there will be hardships, there will be challenges, and it is those who are able to counter those challenges well, they are the ones who will be able to advance further, who will be able to do well in life. This is what this topic is about. So ultimately this interpretation needs to come out. This is what would be the most important task in the group discussion. Once the proper interpretation is available, then you can express your points further, you can take the discussion forward. Similarly, there is a question that has come up regarding the second topic. Can you please explain the second topic? Papa don't preach. Papa don't preach. First of all, for those of you who might be aware of it, Papa don't preach is the chorus of a popular pop song. I think the song came sometime during the 90s. As far as the idea behind this line is concerned, parents, teachers, elders, they always keep advising us, they always keep telling us what we should do, what we should not do. And we sometimes say that they give us lots of advice, but by themselves, Sanjeevan Mohanty is pointing out that it's a Madonna song, a song by Madonna. Okay, we often, our elders, our teachers, parents, relatives keep giving us different advice. They keep telling us what we should do, how we should live, how we should dress, etc. But by themselves, sometimes they are also lax, sometimes they are also irresponsible. When they were of our age group, sometimes they also would have done the same thing. They also would have been relatively casual, fun-loving, and so on. These are the points that are being referred to when you have something like saying that Papa don't preach, that is, Papa don't tell me what I should be doing. Essentially, the reference here is not just to one's father, but perhaps to all elders. Another question that was there, another topic that was there, the picture in the rear view mirror is clearer than the one in the windshield. There is a very popular saying that in hindsight, you always have 20/20 vision. That is, when something has already happened, when something has already gone by, then you have full information about what is going to happen or how things evolve and so on. Whereas, when we look into the future, then we only see uncertainty, we only see ambiguity. We do not have clear-cut vision over there. For example, if you talk about something like the subprime crisis, when the subprime crisis hit us, a couple of years, by the end of a couple of years after that, we had a very clear understanding of how this entire crisis developed, how there was a bubble and which could only have led to a bust, and that bust ultimately came about. Whereas in 2007, that is in the early part of 2007, before the subprime crisis hit us, there was no way we could see that such a thing is going to happen. Similarly, when you talk about things like the Satyam scam, again, there was no prior information, there was no prior suspicion that there could be any wrongdoing. Satyam was in fact one of the reputed companies in India. But later on, we started pointing out that there were these flaws, etc. in the Satyam balance sheet. Their margins were much lower than that of other IT companies in India, which should itself have been a warning sign and so on. So essentially, this topic is saying that in hindsight, everything is known to us. We have full information, we have complete information. But it is when we look at the future that things are relatively uncertain. Similarly, if I was the Prime Minister here, again, you would have to talk about the major problems which are there in the country, and therefore the problems that you would tackle when you will be the Prime Minister. Rear view mirror, Aman, will be the hindsight, and the windshield will be the future. When you move forward, you see things through your windshield. That is, so whatever is ahead of you, that is what the windshield refers to, Aman. It is not the rear view mirror which refers to the future. The rear view mirror refers to the past, things which are behind you. The rear view mirror is the hindsight, and the windshield refers to the future. It is through the windshield that you see what is ahead of you, what is in front of you. That is the future. It is the future which is about to come. Okay, so this was what happened in the XIM-B group discussion. These were some of the topics which had appeared in the XIM-B group discussion last year. Now, as you can see, these topics are typically these topics are philosophical in nature. Some may even describe them as abstract, but essentially they are philosophical in nature. Now, one important point to note over here, once again, for this year, XIM-B has separately mentioned a W80. We do not know whether they are going to give a separate essay topic this year, or if it's going to be the summary writing at the end of the group discussion itself, which they are counting as a W80. Going by the past experience of the kind of topics that they had given for group discussion last year, you can perhaps expect that their essay topics may be philosophical in nature again. So be prepared for this mentally. If you go through your PDP handbook, you will find that even IIM Code typically for their writing assessment task gives philosophical topics only. So again, you can practice some of the topics which had appeared for IIM Code last year, and these topics which we have shown here, these are mentioned in your PDP handbook as well. You can practice these also in your for your practice essays. This is as far as the XIM-B group discussion for last year is concerned. One question that has come up is, how do I prepare for these kind of topics? The simplest way of preparing for these kind of topics is write an essay on at least one or two of these. Come and meet your verbal faculty or your PDP faculty at the center. Show them your essay, get their feedback, get their ideas, get their views, get their opinion as well. That will be the simplest approach for preparing for these topics. These topics require you, as we discussed, they require you first of all to interpret the topic in the correct manner. Once that interpretation is there, then you can relate it to various examples, various events, incidents in real life, and perhaps you can move towards some conclusion based on those examples. The personal interview here, candidates were interviewed by 3-member panels generally, and interviews were mostly about 20 to 30 minutes long and were quite relaxed, quite pleasant in nature. Many candidates were asked several questions on current affairs, general knowledge, and few of the candidates were questioned on their academics, their subjects during graduation. Some of the candidates were also questioned about their job profile, the kind of work they did, while some candidates had questions from their hobbies and areas of interest. So essentially, to a large extent, XIM-B interviews were not predictable. They did not follow a set pattern. This is one thing to note. So be prepared thoroughly across your profile as far as your interview preparation for XIM-B is concerned. Let me now invite Ms. Rupmalini Sahu. She is currently a student at XIM-B. Rupmalini, welcome to the session. Rupmalini, could you share with the current students about your experiences of the interview, about the personal interview and group discussion last year? Yeah, Rukmalini, you are audible now. Just speak a bit louder.
Okay. Yeah. Hi everyone. My GD topic was blue. We were given on 2 minutes to think and 10 minutes to present our ideas on the topic. And it was a mixture of the topics that year were a mixture of few current affairs, few abstract and proverbial topics. So it was mostly on the lines of how you are, we were judged on the lines of how you are articulating your thoughts and all. And the personal interview was around 20 minutes.
Just a second, Rukmalini, what was your GD topic?
My topic for that panel was blue.
Okay, the topic was only the single word?
Yeah, blue. And
okay.
Previous topics were also like proverbial, something was on the monk who sold his Ferrari was also a topic.
Okay.
People had got topic like air and some current affairs prevailing at that point of time.
Okay, so there were also some topics related to current affairs.
Yeah, in other panels that time.
Okay.
And the topics were mostly easy to speak up. And I had also heard that topic, one was on some nasal plastic surgery. Rhinoplastic or something of that sort.
Okay.
Just one medical term was given to speak about.
Okay.
Rukmani, why don't you introduce yourself as well, your background, what have you done, and what are you doing at XIM-B?
Sure. I'm an electronics engineer. Prior to joining MBA, I have worked for around 2 years in Nokia Siemens Network as a telecom engineer. After that, I joined XIM in the year 2011, and I'm pursuing my majors in marketing. I interned during my summers with Britannia Industries Limited as a marketing intern, and currently I am placed with Deloitte US Consulting for retail and consumer goods division.
Thanks a lot, Rukmani, for your introduction. So how has the journey been at XIM-B? When we come to all these GD topics and we'll have a lot of time, students will also ask questions and we'll answer them. So how has been your journey at XIM-B until now?
I would just put in one word: amazing, truly beautiful. These 2 years have been a life-changing experience, I would say, because the person I was when I entered XIM and the person I am now, XIM has added a lot to my personality in terms of thinking, in terms of knowledge, in terms of outlook, and we have an excellent peer group here, people from all over India. We are highly competitive, fiercely passionate people who make the environment highly stimulating in XIM, and you have a mixture of everything. The acads are very strict as compared to other colleges, but at the same time, there's a lot of events where students can be a part of. That's the fun element of our life, and as peaceful life goes on, and there's no thing as holidays. It's 24/7, 7 days a week, but that's the beauty of it.
Right. And can you just throw some light on the courses, the BM, the HRM, and the rural management?
Yeah. XIM currently runs 3 courses. One is BM. It has 180 participants. The other one is HRM. It's 60, and RM is 60. So in
just repeat the number of seats.
It's 180 in BM, business management. It's 60 in human resource management. And it's 60 in rural management.
Okay.
And the processes, I believe, Rukmani, would be the same for all these 3? Are they?
Yeah, it's same, but the shortlist comes out differently for all. All BM assess CAT, BM and HRM, they assess CAT and ZAT score. RM, they have ZAT score and EMA score. And so the shortlist comes out on basis of these scores.
And the second stage process, would it be the same? Would the students be going through the similar kind of activities and things like that?
Yeah. The panels would be similar, but the students will be clubbed according to the course they have got. So the process would be same for all the three courses. They need to face the panel, they need to go through the GD. The panels are also 3 in number for RM, HRM and VM.
Oh, so there are 3 panelists for each of the interviewing processes.
Yeah.
And even in the GD, they would...
Sorry?
Yeah, please continue.
Yeah. But the interviews would be highly influenced for the course you are applying for. That's what I wanted to mention.
Okay.
Interviews will be highly PhD?
Yeah. Like for example, people who are applying for RM, the interview is based on see their orientation towards rural management or their interest towards that particular field, as it is a very niche area. And HRM similarly is also a very niche area, so students need to have that aptitude that is required for HRM, because questions would be morely based on that stream.
And the GDs also would have 3 panelists?
Yeah. GDs also have 3 panels.
And
Mostly the same panel sit for one group of GD, and for the same group, the same panel would be there for GD and PL in most of the cases.
Right. Thank you. So you can continue about the GDs. You were saying something, I interrupted you.
Yeah, GDs, as I was mentioning, you get a varied topic, so you need to prepare, and these GDs it is highly recommended that people do not make it a fish market, because there has been cases when none of the group members have been picked up just because of mess in the GD. GDs are, in most of the cases, I would say to the extent of 90%, GDs are very nicely done, and there is no fish market here, because the environment the panelists would also be looking. So people get ample time to speak up, so there is no need to panic. And if the topic, they also can speak about a variety of things that are related to the abstract topic. If they have no idea about the topic also, they can speak about a various related things that is related to that topic that they are given at that point of time.
Okay, thank you. Over to you, Rahul.
Okay, Rupmalini, so tell us something about your interview experience. What all areas did the panel focus on?
Hi Rahul. As I have told that I had around 2 years of work ex, so my GD started, my PI started with a very common question, like they asked me to explain the meaning of my name. So that was a ice-breaking question. And then I had to give an intro of myself in just in 1 minute. I had to speak about myself. Then it went on to my work ethics, then my hobbies, interest areas, and as the college is situated in Orissa, they expected that the student knows something about the region and why they have applied. And more focus was on the question like if you are having a very good work experience, then why do you need to do an MBA now? So I would suggest the participants that it is very important to frame your why MBA question very nicely, so that it connects your work ex and your short-term and long-term goals. And after that, I was given 2 quant questions to solve. It was on the fly, 2 questions on speed and distance I was given to solve. They gave me the numbers, they gave me a sheet of paper, and I was asked to solve the questions. And and a lot of questions were also asked on my short-term goals, what I want to do in 5 years' time, 10 years' time, and what if I'm not selected and all. And my interview ended in a note that I don't think you are going to get selected. So what do you have to say to the panel. And
So what did you say at that point in time?
I just told the panel very confidently and with full conviction that I have given my best, and I look forward to be a part of the esteemed institute, and I hope I get a chance to be in there. I think that worked out for me.
Okay, so in your introduction, which all things have you highlighted?
Yeah, actually I went with one motto in mind. I didn't want to repeat my CV. So I didn't speak much on the things that were already put on the CV, though they never looked at my CV as such, but in some cases they had gone through the resumes of the candidates. But I didn't mention my marks and grad marks and all. I focused more on the person I am, my skills, my short-term, long-term goals, things I am passionate about, my hobbies, and things I would like to do in my free time or something like that. And I hadn't mentioned about my graduation marks or the college I passed out and all these things.
Okay. So would you say that your interview had largely followed the pattern that you had yourself established in the introduction itself?
Exactly. And that's the trick. I think I was very lucky to get a question like speak about yourself, because I had the ample of time to write the interview the way I wanted. I spoke a lot about I am a trained classical singer, so I mentioned that, and they asked me how do you think, what traits of being a singer can be useful if you are an MBA? So things like that, and I think the way I set the tone of my interview at the beginning, that really helped me in the future course, and it was quite stress-free and with an easy flow the interview could go on.
Okay. What all questions were asked to you as far as your hobbies are concerned, apart from the question on how will your hobby help you in MBA? Apart from that, were there any other questions related to your hobbies?
Yeah, exactly. Like I had mentioned that I loved adventure sports. So I was asked what kind of sports you have been a part of, and I was also asked about a bit general knowledge about the sports, what are the risks associated and what are the rules you should follow. Like I had mentioned about parasailing, canoeing, caving, and all these things. So I was required to know the basic about all these sports and why I am so interested to them and not towards other sports. That thing I had to justify.
Okay.
And
okay.
I had also heard that people who have given hobbies as blogging or mentioned something like that, they were asked how frequently you blog, or what are the blogs you follow, and is really blogging helpful, or it is just a fad, just a waste of time, things like that.
Okay. Fine. So these were the questions which were typical regarding one's hobby. Now, moving on to the question on your goals. So what were the different questions which you were asked regarding your goals?
Regarding my goals, I was asked what are my short-term goals, where I want to go after doing MBA, and if you don't get into that field, then what are you going to do? And as I had been a telecom engineer, I had to justify why I want to go into that field and not anything else. So those are the things that were asked, and they asked me about my long-term goals. Where do I see myself after 15 years? And though they did not specify on a particular position, or I did not rather specify on a particular position, I just gave them a wide perspective of the field I would like to be in and the type of work I want to do after 15 years. That's all I had to do.
Okay. So, what was the answer that you had given? Where do you see yourself after 15 years?
Yeah, I'm very interested towards innovation management and a kind of serial entrepreneurship. So I had told them that after working in the industry for 15 years, I would have the necessary skill and the expertise to see through things. So I would like to explore something on the lines of innovation management now in 15 years.
Okay, so what did the panel say after that?
Yeah, the panel told that, are you very sure that you will stick to this field? So I was very honest about it, that as a fresher or as somebody with just 2 years experience and not even gone for higher studies, this is my thinking, but I just hope to be in a very good position so that I can influence the trend at that time and make something good out of it, because I just remember that I told that there may not be invention all the time. There can be innovation of processes. There can be a little bit of change of the way we do things, so that we can do it in a very cost-effective and a new and fresh manner. So I would like to be a part of some kind of team in future in leadership roles, driving the team in those fields. I think they were pretty convinced with this.
Okay. So the panel accepted your answer?
Yeah, they quizzed me a lot on this, but I was able to convince them. So I gave them that I want to take leadership position in these all fields, driving towards new kind of innovation in, say, processes or products or anything I would be in at that point of time. So they were pretty convinced about it.
Okay. Okay. You mentioned that you were asked some questions about Orissa, knowledge about Orissa.
Yeah.
What were the questions which were asked about Orissa?
Yeah, somebody even asked a question on like current affairs or general knowledge in your interview. So about Orissa, I was asked about Orissa politics. At that point of time, some kind of upheaval had gone in the Orissa political system. So I was asked about that. I was asked to name 5 rivers in Orissa and districts, and somebody else was also asked about a number of districts in Orissa and what is the unique architectural feature or architectural grandeur of the city. On those lines, some questions were.
Rukmani, do you belong to Orissa?
Yeah, I belong to Orissa.
Okay, okay. And were the other candidates who were not from Orissa also asked about Orissa?
Yeah, I think they were asked about like how many districts or what do you know about Bhubaneswar, why do you want to come to Bhubaneswar, like people were asked what are the other calls you have, so if you get there, would you like to come here, and something on those lines they were asked, and many people were asked about basic things like Bhubaneswar, what do you know about Bhubaneswar, population of Bhubaneswar, it's a tier 1, tier 2 or tier 3 city, some basic stuff like that.
So I think it would be advisable for students to read a little bit about Orissa before they go in for the interview, right?
Yeah, just the basic general knowledge type. Facts.
And were there any other, please continue.
Yeah, they did not go deep into it, but few pointers like the state capital, why it is known as the temple city of India, something on those lines. Because these are all ice-breaking questions that panelists generally ask.
And somebody had asked a question, did they ask current affairs and to what extent have they gone in asking current affairs, etc., etc.?
Yeah, actually, they also asked me, I had mentioned that they asked me which all newspapers you read. There was a question and I just mentioned the ET and Hindustan Times. Some questions were asked on the fiscal crisis, and some questions were also asked like another question, what all India needs to do for improving trade and projecting itself well, because there was something going on at crisis at that time. So basic questions, I would say that if you are followed with the news cycles from the past 30 days, it should help. Not much was asked before. Just current affairs, 3-4 days earlier newspaper headlines, etc.
Okay. And what about your work experience? If I ask you a lot of questions, what kind of questions did I ask you?
Generally on WorkX, they ask questions about the sector you are working in and how is the performance of the sector, what kind of the nature of the job you were in, what did you like your job, what did you like in your job, how did it help you grow as a professional. And the last question that they ask generally is why you want to do an MBA after that, if you are really good in your job and all.
Right. So, over to you, Rahul.
Could you elaborate on the WorkX related questions and the answers you gave for them?
Yeah, in WorkX, the first question was what was the nature of your job. So I was working for Airtel project in Gurgaon initially. So I explained like what is the work of my project. I was a telecom engineer. I was with the network transmission team. So I explained the day-to-day job aspect. Though I didn't go much deep into it, it was just an overview of the things that they could understand. I would like to give a pointer that you need not be too technical in your interviews because the panelists do not want to know how good technical knowledge you have. They just want to know like how are you looking at the business side of it and how well do you articulate the things that you do and that as to how is it helping your client. So that is the thing that is required. So I explained them like how is our client getting benefited, how are we increasing the revenue for them, what are the cost cutting measures we have, how do we innovate in our processes so that we can accommodate the growing demands of the economy, things like that I explained.
Okay. Fine. So did they ask you about your work experience in greater detail after this?
No, they didn't ask me about in greater details. They just asked me, do you love your job? Did you like your job? I just said yes, I really enjoyed working there. So they asked me then, if you're so happy with your job, what do you want to do in the end of?
Okay. So when they asked you about why MBA, what was the answer that you have given?
I just told them that I think I just listed them the attributes that I gained professionally, like I was a good team player, I really liked it, and the thing that helped was that I was a process engineer, so I was working on things on the lines that you do after you do your MBA. So I just told them that I was the circle spoke, I was a single point of contact, so I was heading a team in 2 years. So I just told them that with the work I have done and the experience and the thing I have gained, I feel if I do an MBA, I can add more knowledge to my skill set and take up better leadership roles in future, which will give me a wider perspective to use my skills and all.
Okay. Fine. So you wanted to add more knowledge and gain a wider perspective.
And take a leadership role position because with MBA a lot of more skill comes in. You can fine tune your personal skills, you can fine tune your knowledge, you know more about more sectors, and it's not limited to a particular field. So that what can really help in the interview if you give them.
Okay. Now, these were questions regarding your work experience. When you gave these answers, after this, what all did they move on to?
Like after this, they moved on to the why MBA question, and then the why you want to do an MBA, and then what field, then your short term, as I've already told my short term and long term goals, where do you see after 15 years?
Okay, so what field did you mention?
I didn't mention any field. I was quite honest about it. I just told them that the nature of job I want to do. Like I'm a person who loves analyzing things. I like to read and research and come out with things that is generally not seen or normally things that don't come up. I like doing things. So I would like to be in some kind of field like that.
Okay, so you talked about the kind of field that you would want to be in.
But
You did
that
not talk about?
I didn't talk about any specific thing.
Okay, you did not mention any specific stream or specialization.
Exactly. I just said then they asked me about my, like, which stream I would like to specialize in. So I just told them that I'm interested in taking, as you can do dual majors here. So I just told them that I am very much interested in marketing and operations. So as the first year is common to all, I'll think about it after going through the curriculum which suits me the best and take it forward.
Okay, so you talked about your interest in marketing and operations, but you did not.
I talked about it because my work ex is in operations, so that was pretty justified. And marketing, I just told that I'm interested in this field. I am a very forward-going and very adventurous. I'm a very passionate person, so I would like to do something in sales and I'll really go into the things I love, that is branding and building brands in future, something like that.
Okay.
But I didn't say that I will do mark or off, so I just told them that I'd like to decide after I go through it.
Okay, so you said that you are interested in these fields, but you said that you will decide after your first year.
Exactly.
Okay. So they did not come up with any cross questions on this?
No, not any cross question on this, but I have heard that people who just told that, no, I want to do finance or I want to do marketing or I want to do operations, they were asked a lot to justify, like, why you want to do, what do you know about the field, and have you really researched about it? And if you wanted to do finance, then you could have gone through chartered accountancy. Especially engineering people were asked, why you did engineering and then you wanted to do finance and all.
Okay. So you gave them a clear-cut answer that I am interested in particular fields, one of which was related to your work area. Exactly. And you also highlighted that you will make a final decision after your specialization. In fact, if I go back to what you were sharing with us, even when they asked you about your goals, you had mentioned that your goals will evolve. Since you just have 2 years working at this point of time, so your goals may also evolve over a period of time.
Exactly.
Okay. Fine. So you were asked questions related to your work ex, related to your hobbies, and knowledge about Orissa, plus there were a few questions on current affairs and general knowledge.
Exactly.
You were also asked questions on your short-term, long-term goals, what after MBA, what if not selected, and so on. Do you have any recollection of the questions on time, speed, and distance? A rough idea, perhaps?
It was a speed and distance question only. Like we have some questions on trains traveling on the opposite direction, and birds sit on this train, then jumps to that train, then jumps to this train, and keep doing it. So how much distance it would have traveled? That was my question. I remember it. One question.
Okay.
The other question I don't remember correctly, but it was on the same lines.
Okay. Did the other candidates over there also get similar questions?
Yeah, actually people have got one questions on media, arithmetic mean, progressions, and speed and distance. These are the favorite topics that come up in the interview, PI especially. And especially to engineering people, and if you have mentioned somewhere that you have got some Olympiad and maths Olympiad, or you have won something in maths. But though they hadn't seen my CV, but whatever they had seen from my acads, maybe that is why I was asked. But people were asked questions on mean, media, mode, and speed and distance. These were the favorite topics.
Okay. So statistics and then time, speed and distance. These were the popular topics.
Progression was also there.
Progression, okay.
So, Rupali, do you have any recollection or any idea about the non-engineers also ask questions on mathematics?
I think there was somewhere asked because as the way we prepare for CAT or that or any such exams, we need to go through a lot of progression questions and those short tricky questions. I think they were asked as far as I can remember, and it was just to see like in some cases if you do not try your interview well from the beginning, exam interview can go on to become a stress interview. So these questions are actually they come up, they put in, they are planted in to make the situation more stressful for you. It is not like that people who answered it wrongly didn't get selected. I also know people who have answered it wrongly both the questions and they are in exam. But that is how you handle those questions even if you don't know. It is a kind of putting stress on you because at times interviews do become very on lines of stress interview. Many interviews are taken on lines of stress interview.
Right. And were these mathematics questions also asked to RM, the rural management and the HRM students who were appearing for these interviews?
Mostly not. They were not asked. It's mostly asked to the BM people. The rural management people, they are mostly quizzed on the basics of like what do you know about the rural economy, or have you ever traveled to these places to understand, or you are just coming here because of exam, rural management, things like that. So rural management people need to make their resume and their interviews, like their intro and all, towards like what are their interest area that matches to the curriculum of rural management. Because they have a different curriculum. RM has a different curriculum here. So they need to go to places like rural areas for 1 month in their first year. PM doesn't have it. So and that is a credit course as far as I know. So they need to make the panel convinced that they actually have it in them to understand the people out there, and so that they can market there, they can make the operations, work there. They need to have the knack of understanding of the rural economy. And more current affairs questions like the ITC, Shakti model, things on those lines were quizzed on.
Right. And some student is asking a question that did they ask him about the essay in that?
Sorry?
The essay which you write when you write the last exam, so did they ask you about the essay?
Actually, no. They didn't ask me my essay. My essay was also not there with the panel, but in some places, in other panels, I have heard that they had kept a copy of the essay, but it is mostly not asked, as far as I know. But in some cases, if the panel, because as you know, XIM-B has a very unpredictable panel, and if they sometimes they wish, I want to go through your essay, and they ask 1-2 questions like what you have written on things like this, they may ask. I have just I have heard about this for 1-2 stray instances, but normally the essays are not asked. But there has been 1-2 stray instances.
Okay. Over to you now.
Okay. Rupali, were you also asked questions regarding your subjects during graduation?
I was just asked about, as I was I had done my engineering in electronics and telecom, I was asked only 1-2 questions about microprocessors and telecommunication, as I was also working in the telecommunications field, so they asked me some basic radio frequency waves or microwave question like that, I remember. But not deep into this. But freshers asked with more on their attached, the summer projects that we do.
Okay. would be your advice for aspirants for this year?
I would just tell them that first you need to be very confident. One has to go and appear for the interview with full conviction, because if you just waffle and if you're not confident, if you're not sure about the things you are speaking, you will get caught in 1-2 minutes and they literally bash you up there. So I would just say that first prepare the basic TI questions that needs to be prepared, like why MBA, why XIM-B, why what you have short-term goals, long-term goals, personal hobbies, etc. All the basic set of questions that is required for interview, that needs to be prepared very well. And apart from that, be very specific on your goals. Read a lot about the current events that are happening, and form a basic perspective on what are the pros and cons of those events, because that can help in the GD as well as the PI. And rest, brush up a bit for working people, brush up a bit on the ACAD basic important subjects that you had, and please be very thorough about your job, what you are doing, and have pointers in your mind what you want to speak. And I would suggest for engineers, do not be too technical in the interview, because you are not going for a job switch, you are going for a business management interview. So, okay. And for freshers, please be very thorough with at least 3 to 4 subjects, and you have to justify why you want to be here, and what do you know about business management, about the profiles that you get after that made you interested just after passing on. Many people went with like you did engineering, then you will do MBA, then tomorrow you will not like it, you will do something else, you are not consistent, stuff like this. But you need to justify it, because even I am here and I have done my engineering, I have done my MBA, and I am doing something now. So it's just the way you interpret things, it's just the way you articulate and speak up in front of the panel with conviction. They will try to thrash you down, because they do it all the time, but you need to keep on justifying, and please don't give inconsistent answers, because they are pretty knowledgeable people, very experienced, they'll catch you in 2 minutes.
Okay. So there was one question here which was asking about whether you need to carry your original certificates on the interview day.
No, I don't think they have time to even see, because my file was not even checked. No verification takes place on that day. If you get a call, if you get finally selected, on the day of joining it is checked. So I do not think there would be need of any original certificate, but if people want to carry it, like even I had carried it, but they generally don't see it.
Okay, so they generally do not check your original certificate on the interview day, but
they don't see the file. They don't see the file at all.
Okay.
They have the original. Yeah, they have the XIM-B form that people have filled. About it's there about your work ends, it's there about the profile you have worked in. Everything is captured there. So generally they have that. So they quiz you from there.
Okay.
That happened in my case also.
Okay. One question that has come up is, for people who have got both calls, that is calls from BM as well as HRM, do the panels also ask if as to how the candidate could be interested in both streams?
Yeah, this question can come up now, because in my year there was no the HRM course came up a bit late, and we had HR in BM. So this year there can be question like you have also applied for BM and you have got a call. So which one will you take? Why do you like one? So if somebody says that I'll take BM and not HRM, then they may ask question like why you at all applied. So they need to make 2 specific set of answers, like how do they counterattack? They have to make an answer like how their interest area lies in this, how it is interconnected.
Okay.
Questions were asked like this last year also.
Okay, so such questions were there last year as well.
Yeah.
Okay, and would you suggest that candidates should carry their CV with them
Yeah, I would suggest, because in some panels they had seen the CV. It depends. It would be wise if you take a one-page CV to the panel. If you're lucky, they may look into your CV.
Okay, the panel may look at your CV if you carry it with you, so it makes sense to have one ready.
Yeah, just
Further,
have one CV. Yeah, further if they don't see, if they don't ask for it, or they say no, we do not need it, then it's okay. But I would suggest it's always better to carry a CV.
it's always better to carry a CV to be prepared. Further, it
Yeah.
will also give students a chance to highlight some areas, some achievements,
Exactly.
etc., which they might not be able to write about in their regular application form.
Exactly, and it is, and the way the students prepare their CV, they also come up to know all the things that they would like to speak up in the PI and all. What are the achievements and all. So it helps in the long run.
Okay, so there is no harm in carrying a CV. Otherwise, if the panel looks at it, then of course a candidate who is prepared with it can get some brownie points.
Exactly.
Okay. Now, one question that has come up is the competition tougher for HRM since it has just 60 seats compared to BM which has 180?
I do not think so, because in BM the number of applications would also be that high. So the proportion generally remains the same, like the call ratio sometimes it's 1:7 or 1:10. So you have to fight out with equal number of people. For 180 seats, the call must have gone 1000 plus or something. But for HRN, the calls would also be less because it is 60 seats. So it's just a ratio. So I don't think the competition is tougher or easier. It is equally tougher on both the ends because you have to fight out with your peers to be here. I do not think it would be tougher or easier. It's just that the ratio in HRM, the number of calls would be less. Hello? Hello?
Yeah, one question that keeps coming regularly for XIM-B is that does a candidate's domicile play a significant role in whether they get selected for XIM-B?
Even I would like to answer this question. I just want to request all the candidates to take this thing out of mind, because once you get a call, you are all at the same level. This domicile, you do not get any brownie points for it. It's just a cutoff that is low for the initial selection. After that, you have to fight out equally. There is no quota for domicile series. There is nothing like 50-50 for domicile, non-domicile, nothing like it. If you can prove your worth, you are in. That is what I would like to say.
Okay. So essentially domicile does not play any role at all.
Any GDPI, after you get you clear the cutoff and you are into the GDPI round, there is nothing called domicile, and after you join here also there is nothing called domicile.
Okay. Okay, candidates, if you have any other questions for Rupmalini, please do post them in chat. We can discuss those. Rupmalini, one question that has come up is, if we have an entrepreneurial idea based on HRM, should we go forward and discuss? Does that give a top pitch?
Yeah, I would say that if you are very clear about your idea, there is nothing harm in putting it. And about top pitch, I cannot just say now because I really do not know about the idea and what it is based on. So I would say that if you have something in your mind and you have done some research on it and you have a model around it, then speak up. But just don't speak of an entrepreneurial just because it is a fancy word and people think that if you do an MBA you can open up a business of yourself. So don't speak up for that reason. But if you really have some model in your mind, then there is nothing harm in speaking up.
Okay. If a candidate does mention it, they should have proper justification for it. If they can justify their idea.
There is a lot on entrepreneurial ideas. If you Otherwise, they'll just ask you like Dhirubhai Ambani never did an MBA, so why do you want to invest 10 lakhs and come here? There's no point in it.
Okay. One question that has come up is, in the CV, what are the parameters? Now, one point that I would like to add here is, first of all, XIM-B does not ask for any CV at all. It is your choice whether you carry a CV with you. Accordingly, for the CV, XIM-B does not set out any parameters. It is entirely up to the candidate as to what points you wish to highlight.
Exactly.
Yeah. Anything you would like to add here, Rukmalini?
Yeah, the same thing. It's up to you. It's your discretion, like how you want to make your CV and what all things you want to put. But the basic stuff like at your work, these things should be there, and the rest is up to you how you make your CV. Because there is no set of parameters as put up by XIM, so I just cannot comment like what should be there, what should not be there. It's the individual discretion.
Yeah, it is entirely upon the candidate as to what points they wish to highlight in their CV. Okay. Another question, does XIM-B give weightage on academic marks, or is it entirely upon CAT score and GDPI performance, CAT or ZAT score?
See, I would, I don't know till now the breakup that they give to ACATS and this WorkX or your GD performance, PI performance, because we are not given the weightage on that basis. But it's my opinion that there is some weightage to your ACATS, but I think the majority of the weightage would go on your performance on your GDPI day. Because people are there. There are few people who are low at that also, but I'm pretty sure that their GD and PI would have gone extremely well. So I do not have the breakup as such, but having good ACATS, there will be some good points for it.
Okay, so essentially, ultimately, the ultimate selection, the final selection, does not depend on any of the issue. It's not saying purely on the score in the experience or on a candidate academics, or for that matter, in the performance GD, the combination of various factors. It's not just a single factor.
Exactly.
Okay. One interesting question that has come up is, does the panel also look at the GK result in that?
I'd like to answer this, Rahul. Rupani, can I answer this?
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
Since the DAT essays would be available to them, similarly the GK result this year that was conducted by DAT would also be available. They might look into it. So, because GK was introduced after a long time, after a long interval in that. So, I don't think so now. Whatever is history, you have performed as you have to perform. So, why worry about it now? Rupani, anything you would like to add?
No, I have the same answer for it, because as your other scores, this score would also be available to you. So, it is upon them if they want to quiz you on it, or they may just ignore it. So, seriously, have no specific answer to it, but I think they will have the marks as of other percentiles.
Okay. Any other questions for Rukmalini? Anyone? If there are no further questions from candidates, then we will close this session in about 5 minutes' time. Thank you all for attending this session, and special thanks to Rukmalini Sahu, who came here and advised our students, helped our students. Thanks also to Nishant. One question that has come up is, since HRM is a new course, how is the current placement scenario?
The placements have been pretty good for our batch, because it has been pretty good on the lines of BM only. The companies, as you all know, that companies, initially it was a single course. So the companies who come for BM generally do come for HRM, and recently HR in XIM-B has been awarded as one of the best curriculums in India by economic times. I cannot disclose the placement reports now because our placement report will come out in very short time in the press review. So you can all have it through, it will come in all newspapers or national dailies. I cannot reveal the exact numbers, but I would like to say that some of the very best profiles and very best packages have come for HRM. Same profiles that go to TIS, Excel, MBI, similar companies, same companies, they come here. Because generally in HR companies, they come to all these 4 campuses to pick. So it has been very good.
Okay, so placements have been very good at XIM, both for the BM as well as the HRM course. And the companies which come for BM, they come for HRM as well.
Yeah, they open HR profiles.
Okay, okay. How are the placements for the rural management course?
Yeah, rural has a different, entirely different placement team, and placements, their companies are very different because they come for rural management background. I can cite a few companies like Tafe, that Tafe comes, and PwC comes, something like that. But as I have already said, the details of the placement report would be available very soon on the national dailies. So in a matter of 15 to 20 days or say 1 month, the press release would be there and everyone can have a better idea. You can just go and have a look at the earlier placement scenario that is given in the brochure. Many companies are from there are regular recruiters. This stands same for BM, HRM and RM. You can go through the brochure that you have been given. So there are many companies in the brochure that comes for regular recruitments to expand.
Okay, okay. Any other questions? Okay, so if there are no further questions, then we will end the session now. Thank you all for joining in, and special thanks to Rupmalini. Thank you.
Welcome. It was a great pleasure being here.
Thanks, Nishant. Thank you all for attending once again. Good night, everyone. We will end the session now. Good night.